Welcome everybody to another episode with the Legacy Wealth Capital Group. I got my partner Sean and Kyle with me today. How you gentlemen doing?
Outstanding.
Great.
I love it. Tonight, and we ain't gonna keep y'all long. We're gonna run about 30 good minutes, maybe 45. I want to talk about the do's and don'ts of capital raising. Because number one, if you're not raising capital for your business, you should be. And number two, if you don't know how, you can learn more about raising capital by watching our webinar at webinar.capitalraisingacademy.com. Go there, watch the webinar. We will go into why you should be raising capital and why you shouldn't hesitate or wait any longer. Because some of you are still out there bootstrapping, trying to figure out how I'm going to pay my next paycheck, or how I'm going to pay my employee, or how I'm going to pay my business bills. Some of you are still going and begging banks and credit card companies and fighting with them, trying to get loans and maxing out cards. And you're just really doing what you've been told to do. I sit on a lot of panels. I'm around a lot of banks. And yes, most of the incubators, accelerators, masterminds, courses, everything tells you to clean your credit up. Here's the steps. Get your credit, go credit repair, go pay a scammer to clean up your credit and lie. Number two, go to the bank, ask them for a loan. Or number three, go get these credit cards that aren't really business credit cards. They're credit cards that are using your personal guarantee, and then you get 3 or 4 or 5 of them so you can have $150K in credit, and that's how you build your business. I don't want you to go through that anymore. But I said all that to get here. The do's and don'ts of raising capital. And we'll just do round table, because I just saw, and here's another thing. There's money out there. You might be thinking, oh, there's no money. I just can't. There's money out there. Here's a don't. Don't lie. There was a guy, Kyle and Sean, I just saw it. Just an article about this guy. The SEC and FINRA, I think they've arrested him, or he got a warrant. I think they arrested him though. He's being charged with wire fraud and just fraud in general. He raised over $700 million to buy ATM machines and grow ATM business. Come to find out, the machines didn't exist, or they weren't operable, the ones that did exist. But my thing is, he raised over $700 million. I don't know who was checking the paperwork. I don't know who was signing the agreements. I don't know who was keeping up with who. All I know is, now that they've caught him, my thing was like, wow, we feel like we can't find money to grow our businesses, but it's people finding money every single day. And then number two, the things that they're doing with the money, they're not even being legal or trying to be. So tonight, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about some of the do's and don'ts when you're raising capital. And Kyle, I'll let you start first to go through just some of, in your experience, what are some things that you absolutely need to do? Then what are some things let's just do do's right now. Just what are some things that you absolutely need to do on this capital raising journey?
And that's a really good question. First of all, people need to understand you do not know enough people. And so a lot of times they think they know enough people that they can just go out there. You don't know enough people. If you did, you'd already be where you need to be. So you got to understand. So you've got to meet new people. And not only that, the people that you have to meet, they have to be the ones that can invest. So you think about it. You are the sum of the 5 people you're surrounded by. So if you think you know enough people, and then you think you're the sum of the 5 people you're surrounded by, are those individuals ones that would invest 100,000, 500,000? I mean, even when they invest 25,000, because if they're not, you got to get some new friends as quick as possible.
That's good. That's good. I like that. Now, before I kick it over to you, Sean, go through your phone right now, everybody. Go through your phone and take what Kyle just said to heart. Can you look down your contact list and say, I can get 5, 10, 15, 20,000 from individuals in my phone?
Yeah, easily. Yeah, easily. I have billionaires in my phone, so I can get 5,000. It's interesting, right? Going back to your story, because he was able to raise $700 million, enough money to have a legitimate business, buy out other competitors, have a large market share, build his business up to possibly go public 3 to 5 years and be a billionaire and live within the system and live great for the rest of his life. But he decided to lie, to defraud the investors. And now, not only is he going to be sued civilly, but he's going to go to jail. And he'll never be able to raise capital again in his whole life. The thing about it is, do it the right way. Do it the right way. If you fail, you just fail. You fail. There's no repercussion. There's no repercussions as long as you did it the right way, right? But if you lie about it, and somebody finds out, it's just going to get so much worse for you. So don't lie. But I want to go over the don'ts.
Real quick. So I just want to recap that, because Sean said if you fail, and I think what we need to understand in today's society is that failure is not an option. So many people settle for the fact that, well, I didn't do it. Well, no, that just didn't work. I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to find somebody. I'm going to find a problem. I'm going to find something over, through, under, around, whatever. I'm going to get it done. And I think today's society is very susceptible to accepting failure. And I believe that's the reason why they say Michael Jordan is the greatest. No, he wasn't the greatest. He only won 6. Bill Russell won 11 titles. And I don't care what anybody says. Do I like the Celtics? I hate the Celtics. I'm a Sixer fan. But you got to for 11 championships? And you're going to tell me somebody that won 6 is the greatest ever? No. What do you think Bill Russell would have been like if there had been Facebook? What do you think would happen if Bill Russell was wearing leather shoes? All right. He was wearing Converses that was canvas, and their feet were bleeding after they finished the game. I mean, so think about this guy, 6'9". He had a heart of a lion. What did he have to go through in the 60s where he couldn't walk through the front door? What are you talking about? That Jordan is the best. And I'm not a Jordan hater, but I'm just trying to say this society right now, my wife and I was talking about it this morning, there's something about the people from the 60s. They would just, roar! I'm sorry about that. I got excited.
Sean, before you go, I want to go back to the guy. He's out of Pennsylvania. The investor losses were $400 million.
Okay.
And so allegedly he raised more than $770 million from approximately 2,700 investors. Now, if you just average that out, that's approximately about $285,000 each that they put in.
Yeah.
To invest in ATMs. The complaint alleges that he used control of the company to create the false impression that they were running a successful nationwide ATM network and paying investors fixed monthly distributions from income earned, although he was just doing and paying them from the money that he was getting from more investors. So a Ponzi scheme.
Ponzi scheme. Yep.
But then he took $185 million for his own personal benefit. So he was living good off investor money. So go ahead, Sean.
So, and that's the thing. If you're raising capital and you're paying yourself, don't do anything. Don't pay yourself crazy amounts of money. Right. Because that's a no-no as well. Because you're using investing for your personal interest. And you can't do that. You can get dinged for that. Start off modestly. Paying yourself, $40,000 a year or something. I think we paid ourselves, what, $2,000 a month, something like that, Cal?
Yeah, I mean, we were, and that was both of us.
3,000,
So
something like
we
that.
were, I mean, people probably what we were paying ourselves joint together is what he was taking 3 times by himself.
Yeah, So yeah, you can use capital for anything related to the business. So if that means office expensive, payroll, you can use it for anything. But don't pay yourself anything crazy. Pay yourself something small and to where you're able to survive, but you're not overdoing it. But another don't is don't be asking for when you speak to investors, and let's say you get a sale. Don't forget to send that PPM out.
Yeah.
Do not forget to send that PPM out, because what happened is this. If let's say an investor, like you say you're going to go public in 2 years, right? Or give it a dividend out in 2 years, but maybe it might be because the market or whatever, COVID happened or whatever, now it might be at 3 years. That investor can say, I didn't know how risky this thing was because he never sent me the information out there. He never sent me the PPM. He never sent me anything. And you have to pay him his money back. And you might not be in a position to pay that money back. For example, all the rest of all the money might have went out to other things that you're doing for the company, and your revenues might not have been that money, the same amount of money to owe the investor. So now he's going to he's going to go to the Secretary of the State, and he's going to complain. If you go to FINRA and stuff like that, complaining, you can have trouble if you want to go public in the future. Mm-hmm. So make sure you send that PPM out there, and don't be happy with cashing a check until all of that information is back in.
That's good. I think I'm going to just piggyback on what Sean said, and don't overlook the need for your professionals that you need to help you with this. Your attorneys, your CPAs, your accountants, those people, because we want to, and this is why you need to raise capital, so you can actually have the funds to pay these people to support your business. Because to Sean's point, we're talking down the road. Mm-hmm. You want to do something big. You may go public, acquire another company, merge with a company, get bought or acquired by a company. What they're going to do is go back and do what we call due diligence. And they're going to ask you to produce all of these records for all of these years. And they're going to look at all the individual things that you have done. And then they're going to ask questions. And so that's another thing that I see a lot of small businesses skip is, well, I don't have money to have an accountant, a CPA, I'll do it myself. Oh, I don't want to pay a lawyer, a retainer, or pay that bill. I'll just kind of skate by on really. You need those things as early as possible, because you don't want to make a mistake that will cost you opportunity in the future. Because now when they go back, they say, well, you didn't quite do this right. You don't actually have this in these records don't line up. You file your taxes improperly. You claim some deductions and the IRS, now they want their money. We know how that goes. And so you absolutely don't want to skip on hiring the right professionals to make sure all of your things are in line so you don't miss opportunity in the future.
Yeah, and I want to say to that too. Oh yeah, really quick. But it's just the fact that, remember, we're talking about, you got to always think with the end in mind. Well, sometimes the end is not you being bought by somebody. The end could be you acquired another company. Why? Because you had the funds and you did things right. So the end is that company you have is over, and now you are a new company. So again, start with the end in mind. Have your I's dotted and your T's crossed. That's all I want to say, Sean.
Yeah. Just to kind of piggyback off of what Cal said earlier regarding or what Tyrus said earlier regarding the scammer guy. I wish I would have had a chance to speak to him before all of this stuff happened. I wish I would have. The reason why is because I would explain to him, like, look, you have an incredible opportunity. You have first of all, 2,700 investors. And basically, if you already raised let's say approximately $400 million. Go out there and buy a bunch of companies out as far as ATMs and stuff, right? Go out there and form have ATM machines all over the country, be the largest ATM holder in the history of the United States or whatever, right? And now do it the right way. So now when you go public, you collected $185 million or 185 million, but you can't keep it now. But if he would have did it the right way, and this is what I would have told you, if you do it the right way, you can times that by 8, possibly, if you take that company public. So do it the right way. Don't scam the investors, man. That's.
But that's a good question, because who was he talking to? Who were you associated with? If you start making, when you get to what? I mean, 100 million? I mean, what million you got to get to realize, you know what? We might need to get this together.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Or if you got to 25 million. Well, I mean, when who are you talking to? Who's in your ear? How could you keep going 100 million, 200 million, 300 million, 400 million, and still not think about getting it right? That right there, that's just unsatisfactory.
Yeah, I don't. That's something else. It's like, I feel like I'm out here trying to have as many conversations as I can to get people to believe in what I'm doing, what we're doing, and come along for that ride. I'm like, this guy here just getting money hand over fist. I need him on the sales team or something. Those are the type of people that you want to find and be like, you know what? You can't be in control, but go out there and do what you do best and let us make sure it's done right. That, Jeez. I would say this is another do. A lot of us want, and we talked about this in our webinar, we want 100% of the smallest piece of pie. Like your pie is this big, and you want 100% of it, versus having a small percent of a much bigger pie. I'm trying to say this the very best way I can, because I know what people are going to say. You don't tell me what to do with my business. Don't get so hung up on you got to be the one, to where you create something that doesn't go anywhere because you don't want to give up anything to have other people come along for the ride. I noticed that most of our businesses stay small. Our incubators stay small. Our accelerators stay small. Our programs stay small because we're so segmented. I'll take Maryland. I hope some people from Maryland hear this. Shall I share this with the chambers? Maryland is not a big state. Why are there so many different chambers of commerce? Why? I get it. You might want to have one in Baltimore City. You might want to have one in Anne Arundel County. You might want to have one in PG County. You might want to have one. We have so many groups of 5 or 10 people in the group. Or it's 100 people on paper, but 3 active. We have so much segmentation of small instead of having one of humongous. Imagine if Jeff Bezos said, you know what? I ain't raising capital for Amazon because I want to control 100% of it. I'm just going to bootstrap it all the way. Amazon would not be the Amazon that we know it today. I don't know of any billion-dollar company or companies doing 50 million plus that just have one owner and never raise capital. I don't know one. If you know one, put it in the chat. I don't know one. I know that Bill Gates and all them guys own very small percentages of their companies, but they're still billionaires. So my don't get so hung up on being the man or the woman and I own 100% and it's my idea and it's my baby and it's my thing and it's my way, that you miss opportunities for growth. I don't know how many people I talk to and say, you know what, we should do this together. We should do that together. We should do this together. And they'd be like, no, I got my own thing. But your own thing ain't doing nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
and you do a double effort. Go for it, Sean.
Just to kind of tag on to what you were saying, I mean, I remember, and I hate talking about this because, you know, I never want to see anybody fail, but I remember when Damon Dash was on Breakfast Club and he was laughing at all these other people because he said he owned 100% of his business. He don't need the investment dollars. You know, he's not like all these other companies. He owned 100% of, you know, so he's his boss and all these other people are workers and they've got their own boss and stuff like that. Now he just filed for bankruptcy. He said he got $5,000 to his name or something like that.
Mhm.
Right? It costs money investing in your own business. And if you go by the statistics, what do it say? You know, 70% of businesses go out of business or something like that within the first 10 years or whatever, right? So, or 5 years, something like that.
5 years.
Right. So would you invest in something where you only got a 20% gain in invest all your money in something you got 20% winning chance? Of course not. But investors will. Investors will, hey, I can afford to throw a couple $1 million in that. It's not going to hurt me. If it blows up, I'm going to increase my net worth 20-fold. If I lose it, oh well. But everybody's not like that. And Damon, you know, he invested in all of his companies, and I guarantee you most of his companies was losers. I guarantee you, and that's why he's in his position he's in now, filing bankruptcy. So you gotta always maintain control, right? But you gotta bring on investors. That's the only way to survive when you have a business that's growing.
And I like that you put that business that's growing. You can absolutely survive if you want to have a business that just pays you. That, you know, you're making 100K, maybe 150, maybe, but it's your business. But most of the time, that's a business that when you step away, it stops. That's not a scalable business. It's not one that somebody's going to be attracted to buy. It's not one that, unless you raise your family up in it, that they're going to be able to take over as an asset. It's going to be a job for them too. Mm-hmm. So if you want to stay between 0 and about 2 or 3 million, don't take investors. Just do what you do every day. Yeah. But every business owner that I know that hits that 2-3 million, be stressed out, burnt out.
And I just want to say this, right? As your business grows, the capital requirements grows as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you may be able to start a business with 5,000, but and you're the only employee. But when you add 10 more employees and 3 more offices, your expenses grows too. So, of course, you know, I don't want to be investing $1 million into a business. I'll let investors take care of that.
Yeah, that's good. Kyle, before you jump in, I want to give another really quick don't. It's just pinging me in the back of my head. Don't go to another mastermind conference without a plan. A lot of y'all just keep going to these conferences, the masterminds, the webinars, the groups, and you don't have a plan. You just want to go feel good. You just want to go hear somebody show you a private plane, or you want to go see a private plane, or you want to listen to the lifestyle, or you just want to be in the environment. But then when you leave, you now have to ask yourself, what's next? And then you don't have the money. I think at the crutch, I want everybody to listen real quick and write this down. There is something that you are struggling with, and you might got a whole laundry list of things, but I guarantee you at the root of 99.9% of those things is lack of capital. Mm-hmm. Yes, you want to go to that conference, but you can't afford to go. Yes, when you go to that conference and they tell you, you need to hire this person, you need to do that, you need to buy back your time, you need to buy in bill. All these things these gurus tell you take money to do. And it's easy for them to say it now because they have money. A lot of them, if you look in their background and they tell you that they bootstrap, yeah, some of them bootstrap to a certain point, but a lot of those guys had connections. They were on the right stages at the right time in the right moments. Now, it's not to take away from what they built, but Tony Robbins didn't pop out of nowhere. Tony Robbins worked for Jim Rohn for a little while. Mm-hmm. So when Tony Robbins got on the stage, Tony Robbins had some coaching, some background, some experience. And yes, he has grown it tremendously from there. But you go to the conference and you don't have the network, going back to what Kyle said, you're not meeting the right people. So you're not making the right connection in order to get the capital. Don't go to another thing without having a plan of what you're going to do. And that plan should be including how I'm going to talk to people about my idea so I can raise capital. Because you can't implement hiring new people with no money. You can't implement the newest AI and software. I see people building these little... Kyle, I'm about to let you take, because I see the AI blowing up and they building these little avatars and they want to do these little videos and put all this stuff on social media, and it's great, but that ain't bringing you no money. And then you in these groups talking about, well, how can I get the free version? Can I do it with the free version? No, you can't. You need money, and you're investing in things that will not make you money. They will give you information that you need to make money, but you can't implement it. Don't do another one. Go for it, Kyle. I can go on that all night.
No, but I just got one word, and I think people just need to understand this. Humble. You got to be humble. You know what? I love Damon Dash. Man, I love what he was for. I love what they were doing. I hate the fact that, Rockefeller broke up and everything, because I loved what they were doing. They were, they were what we call, basically in the industry, they were disruptors, and they changed the way things. I remember when I interviewed Jay-Z, we were at Capitol Records, and he had just, he was on Payday Records. And I just remember interviewing him, and I remember just him thinking different, just the way he was thinking. I thought he was wearing silver. I said, because I like silver. I wasn't a gold. I wore silver. And I was like, yo, man, I like that silver around your neck. And he was like, nah, kid, this is platinum. And I was like, oh, shoot. All right. So he was already thinking. I said, man, I love what these guys are doing. They came up there making the things happen. And I was for them. But I just remember, and I hate to say this, but I never, and I don't know Damon Dash personally or whatever. I interviewed Jay-Z, but I don't know him personally. So I don't know anything about their crew. But I never, saw interviews or whatever where it seemed like he was being humble. And, what happens is, if you go out there, I remember every time I met somebody, and they were like, oh, they was happy to see us, whatever we're doing, whatever. And I just wanted to make sure that I felt people, I wanted to make sure they felt comfortable, being around me or being near us, and I wanted to display that. And most people, especially the ones that are wealthy, that they're humble, you know what I mean? And the people that may be wealthy and making a whole bunch of money, they're not really the one, because they made their wealth because of somebody else. And when you get to the top and you find the top, they're humble. And if you think about like Michael Jordan, or I'm talking to him again, I hate to say that, but I mean, okay, Jordan, he's this, he's that, or whatever, arrogant, but he ain't Nike. Nike's the one that's making the money. He's just a product of that, and he's made a bunch of money from it. So he's wealthy, but because Phil Knight, humble. I mean, and again, it's just that it's kind of, if people need to want to be around you, and when they want to be around you, they're going to invest in you, and it's going to be you. And I think that's where he may have went wrong, where if stuff started crumbling, because even Jay-Z, what he's showing, he's going to buy back his shares double.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't even sell them to him. And now you declare bankruptcy, when you could have sold your shares for double. And now I'm like, man, I don't get it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people let pride, and they let a mentality. I was watching, I don't know if y'all have seen the movie 187 with Samuel L. Jackson.
Yep.
I was watching that movie with my wife, and I was just talking about how in our communities, yes, there was a period of time where just through slavery, through civil rights, through all these things. There were so many obstacles stacked up, so much restricted, so much pain. But I'm like, today, yes, there's still obstacles and ceilings and things. But at some point, you got to sit. And he said it in the movie. Samuel L. Jackson, the actor, said as the actor Trevor said in the movie, it was like, everybody's responsible for their own actions.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, we all go through a lot. But at the end of the day, everybody is responsible for their own actions. And with a Diamond Dash and with other people that have had these issues, it's their actions. And then they get, like you said, you get on the interview and you dog people out over the way they're trying to make it their way. And now you in this position. Now, who knows? You might got some money stashed somewhere. Go for it.
Real quick, just to interject. And when you act like that live on TV, investors don't want to deal with you.
Right.
There we go.
So I just want to see that. I just want to say that because he's live and they're like, the way you talk to that guy, you're going to turn people off. I always say, be humble when you're speaking to investors. Do not talk about politics. Do not talk about religion. Those are the three things that you do.
Yeah.
Or you don't do.
That's really good. And that's another don't then.
Yeah.
Don't show your butt in public. I think it was Isaac Hayes III was on a podcast and he was like, some people just get too comfortable. It's like, if I'm going to do all these things, if I'm going to drink, if I'm going to smoke, I'm going to do it in private.
Yep.
Because once you hit public,
right,
act in a certain way, people going to look at you and they're going to see that. And just because you see other people doing it don't mean you can do it. So yeah, he showed out on the Breakfast Club.
And you know what? I want to share with you. And I don't even know if you can say secret, because they always say the easiest way to hide something from somebody is to put it in plain sight. And most of the time people just miss that. And when you look at these people that can raise capital and they can do certain things, it's what you do with that capital. It's like, like Sean was saying, if he had capital, he had a whole bunch of capital. So why were you buying companies that weren't productive? You know what I mean? Why didn't you maybe just consult? And it's easy to play armchair quarterback, right? But why didn't you just buy a piece of them or consult them or something like that? He bought Pro Kids. They were fledgling. And you bought Pro Kids. You bought the whole company. You know what I mean? Why didn't you just give them some of your advice and take stake in it? He bought the whole company. And I mean, I'm sure that was one of his losses.
Probably with all of his money.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like, that's, this guy that was, again, did this with these ATM machines. Why didn't you put some people in place when you were raising this money to basically, did you think 700 million was all the money in the world? It ain't $1 billion. You know what I mean? So put people in place to make sure that you keep the machine going. Think about it. Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Mark Cuban, all of them had the same opportunity. And what did they do? They went past 700 million. Why? Because they put the right people in place. And then not only that, but they turned around and they reinvested the money back into something that was going to grow them. And I remember, the other day we was at the airport and I'm looking at Amazon airplanes. I'm like, this is crazy. Amazon tractor trailers when I'm on the road. Amazon vehicles running through my neighborhood. Amazon packages at the post office. I'm Circle K the other day. Amazon thing is out there where they drop stuff off at the Circle K. And then guess what? Outside of that, they're selling ad space on the package thing. And I'm looking at Paris Hilton selling her stuff on it. I'm like, that's brilliant. You got these things outside where they drop off packages, people go to pick it up, and then you got the nerve to sell the advertising space for people that's opening up, and it's one big picture on it. And I said, oh, how many of these does he have at every Circle K or wherever they're located? And advertising on each one of them. He just continues to just think about things, and it probably wasn't him. Where's he at? He's off over in Italy getting married. But somebody was smart enough to come up with an idea and bring more revenue to the company. That's why you got to be in our Capital Raising Academy, because that's the kind of stuff you need to be thinking about.
That's good. I was about to go down a train of thought, but you just had laid that out so beautifully. I was about to do another. Oh, my last don't, and we'll let the people get ready to get out of here. My last don't is don't ask for something that you're not ready for.
Hmm.
So I just saw on LinkedIn earlier today that this lady took a flyer. Like Mark Cuban has always said that he answers every email.
Yeah. Humble.
So she sent him an email asking for, I think, $150K for 15%, something like that of her company. And he was like, oh, shoot, yeah. So I'll do it. Then after she got the money, she went to some VCs or somebody else. And they said, well, you'll never be able to raise more money because you got too much. You gave up too much with that. So she reached back out to Mark Cuban and tried to buy the shares back. And he said, sure, I'll sell them back to you, but for $250K.
Yeah.
Because it increased over a little bit of time. And he made her pay the attorney fees. And she wrote this long post about him being a billionaire and how he raking her over the coals, not for the money, but just because it's fun. And he responded. He was like, no, you asked me for this money. I gave it to you. I didn't come looking for you. It increased in value, so I should get my increase back.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't ask for this transaction, so I'm not going to pay the legal fees. What are you thinking? So I say all that to say, before you hit send on that email, before you pick up that phone, don't ask for something that you're not ready for, that you haven't researched, that you don't have the full understanding. Don't make a quick decision just based on a whim. Now, a little bit of add on to that. Don't let a third party talk you out of something without having more people. Like, that needs to go to a board. I would take that. Like, if I did something like that and somebody came to me and said, you know what, that wasn't a good idea, I want to go talk to about 3 other people that don't have a stake in it. Because a stakeholder gonna always say what's beneficial for them. Don't do that. Don't make rash decisions. Don't go back. Go forward.
No. But I want to stick on that because I want you. You're good. You're right. Don't make rash decisions. Don't do that. But you know what? Don't be around people that are not smarter than you. Because guess what I would have did with that? I would have turned around and said, that's a LOA or that's a LOI. So I could have raised more money just based off of Mark Cuban investing in our deal.
That's what I was just about to say.
Yeah, why are you trying to buy it back? Mark Cuban is an investor.
More important, the name recognition, you know.
Right. How much is that worth? That's worth $250,000 by itself. I mean, you got me jumping out my seat. I'm like, what? You tried to buy back those shares? Are you crazy?
That's exactly what I would have said. I would have said Mark Cuban's an investor. I would be courteous and ask Mark, can I use his name to raise more capital?
Right.
But I would ask, I would go out, I would do like Cal said, an LOI, and I would say, I have Mark Cuban, future investor in the company. He has 20%. This is what we're doing. This is what he believes in us. I think you should believe in us too.
How much publicity is that? What could you use? Mark Cuban, owner of Dallas Mavericks, Shark Tank. You got all of that again. But if you sitting around people, buy back them shares from Mark because he bought them.
Yeah.
Who said that? Who are you surrounded by? Yep. Are you crazy?
Also, you never know. Mark might have some influence with getting you more capital, introducing you to investors to get you more capital. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He may have some influence. So you never know, man. You never know.
Humble.
Yeah.
Humble.
Yeah. Yeah. She went back on that, tried to go back real fast.
Real quick, Tyrus. You always see on what's that show called? Shark Tank. They'll buy into your company. They'll give you, let's say $100,000 for 15%. But in return, they'll do something for them as well. Like, for example, the lady Laura, I think her name is Laura. She would get them on that shopping
QVC,
network.
Laura. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. what's his name, Mr. Wonderful, he will introduce him to some other wine
Mhm.
company. I saw him introduce him to some other wine company and stuff like that. So they have a huge network of people they can introduce you to. I mean, Mark Cuban owns 20% of your company. You don't think he want to see it do well? Of course he does.
Exactly.
Yeah, that would be my thing. Like if you land a whale, it's not just the money. Don't get so tied up on the money. Get tied up with all the resources, because not just the capital. Once you start getting the capital, now you can start getting the resources
Right.
and building from there. Because if I had that connection, I'm like, okay, who else can you connect me with? What resources can you connect me with? Do I want a second trade on you and go back to you for more money? Maybe he's the bank now. Might not need to raise from nobody else.
Yep.
What about the association and his experiences? What about asking, being able to tie into Mark Cuban and get advice that's free because he's a shareholder in your company? What about asking him to be on the board? I mean, I could have went so many different directions with that just because of him. And you trying to buy back the shares, and he gave you 150. I mean, what is how much? Like I said, what's the second trade on that? If he gave you 150, he got at least $1 million.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, I remember one of our investors gave us or introduced us to the bishop of the AME Baptist Church, right? Yeah. So we went in there and presented a package to him, and he liked the package. He showed it to his, I guess the second guy in charge or whatever. He looked at it, he was like, hey, I see no problem. This is good. So now he said, hey, you can market to all, I will endorse you. You can market to all of my churches around the country, right? Just how many members is that? Because of that one influence. We had another investor. He knew the, what is that called, Cal? The Catholic, is it that diocese? Diocese, the Catholic Church. So now, we could have marketed to all of the churches, the Catholic churches across the United States. This is how you build people. You get an investor who have a huge network, and you get as much as you can from them. That's the name of the game. Obviously it's going to be a cost. He owns 20% of the company, but just think of where the rooms he can get you in. And otherwise you can't get in, because I guarantee you, the VC that she was speaking to, she couldn't get it. They couldn't get him in those rooms. I guarantee you that.
Well,
and I don't like to guarantee, but Mark Cuban's he's a whale. He's an ultra whale.
Yeah, that was a killer whale.
Very good. All right, good people. We're gonna wind it down. You got your do's and don'ts. And these were very, very basic do's and don'ts. I mean, there's just so much more that we could give you. And we'll probably do a series on that. Series of do's and don'ts, series of best practices, series of what should I be doing to raise capital for my business? Because again, you absolutely need to learn more about raising capital. Visit webinar.capitalraisingacademy.com, because this is something that you can't afford not to do. You're losing opportunity by sitting on the sideline thinking about where I'm going to get the next dollar from, to pay the next bill, to invest in ads, to build systems, to do this AI bots and agents and all this other stuff y'all want to do. I want to go to conference. I want to network. I want to invest in all the you wants come from raising capital. When you raise capital, you don't ever have to worry about the next dollar. Then you can actually go and build and scale and do all the great things we want to do with our businesses. So visit webinar.capitalraisingacademy.com. We thank you for joining us tonight, and we will see you all next week. Have a great one.
Everybody. Thank you.